Speaking of men that have never ever done a hard day's work in their life, Chris Mitchell, how are you?
You cheeky so-and-so.
I
Yeah,
know.
nice to be here. Thank you for inviting me on the show. Hello to the chat. And yeah, great show as always, Dave. Good to see you've come a long way in the last few years.
Do you know what Ronald Reagan said?
Mm.
Ronald Reagan said they say hard work never killed anybody, but I thought, why take the risk?
Yeah.
So that was quite a good one. I mean, that's the thing is like they the thing about like with the farmers and everything is it's not just the physical work; it's the hours that these guys put in,
Yeah.
or anyone that works hard hours. Like in your average politician, they just don't get it. Like to be a politician now, you're on 100K, you've got an office in London, you've not got a boss. I mean, you couldn't actually get a cushier job than that.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely agree. Obviously, I'm living in Norfolk now, so I've come across one or two farmers over the last couple of years. So yeah, I have a lot of sympathy for what's going on at the moment. So I thought also wear the old farmers hat as well, out of respect for them.
Yeah, no, but the only side, as I said, the only problem with them is, in my experience of dealing with them, is that they still believe in the system. Like,
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah.
they just think that, oh well, the farm workers, they don't realize that they hate farmers,
Yeah.
and they hate and it's not just that, it's the notion of anybody being independent from the state, the notion of people being able to look after themselves, like communists by and large, they just hate that.
Yeah, agreed. You made a good point earlier in one of your videos about the Trump election. Obviously, everyone thought it was rigged. I thought it was rigged in my opinion 4 years ago, and now everyone believes in the system. I quite enjoyed your little monologue earlier. To be fair, I thought you were spot on.
Well, thanks, Chris. I have to say, I didn't really come up with that myself. I actually have to give much of the credit that to Andrew Anglin, who wrote quite a good piece on it, and that I mean, I extrapolated from it. But what he was saying is that you had a situation where no one trusted the government. Now
Yeah,
they fully trust the government. But then, I mean, look at some of the names that are being announced for Trump to bring in now, and
I think we all knew it was coming now, didn't we? Like, I mean, it's a difficult one with Trump because we kind of look like hypocrites to a degree because it's hard not to celebrate because the left and the liberal meltdowns is so great to see, and Trump does have that bit of character and charisma about him, and does say some okay things, but then it all points down to the old Israel question and getting as many Zionists on that admin team, which I'm sure that we'll have a few complaints to talk about in the upcoming years. However, I do think it is the best of both worlds that he's the best of a bad bunch, should we say, that's in power right now. So,
yeah.
what,
And
what,
so, how's life with you in general, Chris? Because you weren't on the scene for a wee while. You're back again. Are you keeping well?
Yeah, so obviously we had the drag queen stuff. I had to do my 150 hours community service, pay the £1,500 fine. I tried to keep that as a minimum to delay that process by giving them £100 a month. I was like, I can only afford £100 a month. So that was a bit of a night. I actually enjoy the community service, actually, cleaning graveyards a lot of the time. So I was like, mate, like I've done this anyway. Like when I was in the Independent Nationalist Network, I've done similar things with Patriotic Alternative in the past as well. So I quite enjoyed the community service. I actually met some good people on it as well. And
What sort of people was on the community service then?
to be fair, a lot of them were all there for drink driving. So when they asked me, "Oh,
Right.
what are you in for?" I was like, "Oh, like, I said a drag queen was grooming children." Yeah, that was a bit of a shock to their system because I don't think not many people have heard that. But yeah, met some great people, met some great friends. I even met one that I speak to regularly. I brought him to nationalist meets and everything. They split us up eventually. Obviously, like you can't be together. You would have to split you guys up. So yeah, I thought it worked very well. And again, when you're I had no choice. You have to like clean these graveyards, and that was the majority of the work I did. And I've done other stuff like gardening and things like that. You know, but
I
then
think that's quite a fulfilling thing to do.
I
Is
thought it was
is
very
is, is
fulfilling, and I think that
clean the graveyards, because so many graveyards are in an absolutely terrible state now.
they
I
are.
mean, like that. I mean, you don't see much community service now. Like I remember when I was young, you used to see like, I mean, it wasn't chain gangs, but I mean, you kind of knew when you saw it. Is it
Yeah.
still? Do they still do much of it like that?
Nah, I mean, like you just wear like a high vis,
Right.
high vis jacket like there, and it'll say like a community worker or whatever. So yeah, people walking by wouldn't know you're on it. um, I didn't mind. I quite enjoyed it. I even thought the supervisor woman was brilliant. I tried to get her in a few chats, like I'm saying nothing. I'm on duty. I actually seen her. Like I'm not going to mention names to drop her in it at all. But
So
I
let's just. I'm just interested because I know we've got something else to talk about. But
yeah,
do you think like community service that because I think that people going to jail is such a waste of time and money for so many different things. Like all these people that have been sent to prison for what happened during the disorder,
of course, yeah.
none of them should be in prison. It's a complete
Agreed.
joke. These people could do community service. Do you know what I mean? But do you think? What would you think about now you've done that? Do you think shaming people would work, or do you think like because that's what they used to do? Like in America, they used to have chain gangs and things like that. Or do you think that's humiliating?
Well, yeah, I think it may be quite humiliating, but yeah, it's a good question. I think it probably would be humiliating, but I enjoyed every minute I did. My only got it because I done a Friday. Because I had to do a Sunday, they didn't do Saturdays. They done a Sunday, which I could have done, but then I would have to get like because I don't drive, I would have to get like an hour and a half bus to another county, Suffolk. Yeah, it would have took me ages. So I had an agreement with my manager, who's pretty based. He's actually like really on side, and I'll mention the topic we're coming up soon. He had me in the office as well about the next topic we'll talk about shortly. So I done a Friday. I come out agreement. So obviously I lost so much money by doing it on a Friday every week until 150 hours were completed. But I loved it, man. I absolutely loved it. So
it was mostly doing driving.
Most of them were here in Norfolk. Obviously, if I was doing it back in my home city, Birmingham, I'm sure I would have met one or two people that was not ethnically English or ethnically British in any way, shape, or form. If I was back in Birmingham, and probably a lot more dodgier crimes. But yeah, it's pretty safe where I am in Norfolk. Great Yarmouth is now becoming on a bit of a decline. It's now it's now literally a mini Birmingham in Great Yarmouth. So if anyone wants a holiday to Norfolk, please do come. It is amazing. However, I'd give Great Yarmouth a bit of a wide berth.
Yeah, is it not? Is it not like a former seaside town? It is a bit, gone down the hill a wee bit, a bit grim.
It's trash, man. Like I will be doing a vlog on it soon. Like I actually was meant to be doing a vlog. I had about 4 mates come down purposely to film this vlog and go out on the day. Because I do my travel videos.
Yeah. People are saying they like them.
Yeah, thank you. So I was going to do one on Great Yarmouth and just show the truth. Do you know what I mean? Any country I go to, any place I go to, I don't be biased about it. I just show the truth. I'll film what I see myself, and you'll be pretty horrified about the things that you see in Great Yarmouth.
What's the ethnic
mix like? Dangerous for me to do it as well, which is quite shocking to think that in a seaside place in England is now actually dangerous for me to go and actually film some of the stuff.
What's the ethnic makeup?
But it was pissing down the rain, so I couldn't film. Sorry. We're still the majority in the whole of Norfolk quite comfortably. However, Great Yarmouth, like I dread to think. I don't know what the actual percentage is. And obviously that's why Reform actually got in power in my constituency. Because the girls are just not feeling safe at all right now in Great Yarmouth. I went to a nightclub just 2 weeks ago. I've never been there before, just because I was out with my mate and his girlfriend for a Halloween party, and she was like, "Oh, please come here," and we went there. And honestly, I seen her on the dance floor. My mate was at the bar, and I seen her on the dance floor, and all these foreigners, should we say, trying to get close to the woman there, and I had to just go out. I thought he was going to kick off. I had to push him out of the way. I was like, "Look, man, leave her alone, man. She got a husband over there. Like, it's going to kick off." Had to drag her away. Yeah, like thankfully it didn't. It was quite cool, but yeah, it's not.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing again. I was down in London. I was talking about that. Is you're in the centre of London.
Yeah.
It's like a scene from space. These incredible buildings. It's mobbed. There's loads of money. The tills are jangling. You just go 15 minutes out though, and it's like a third world country. And
Yeah.
it's the same. And so the problem is in the UK is you've got pockets of real wealth where people are wealthy, and then all the people that make the decisions all live in these really wealthy areas. They all associate with middle to upper class people who earn
Yeah.
six-figure salaries. They're not in Great Yarmouth. Like I go down to Ayrshire quite a lot, and like I like it. It's lovely, but I mean, you see it places like Ayr, which used to be an amazing town, down towards Girvan, Irvine, these places, and I mean they're grim. And like Blackpool, some of Blackpool's still pretty okay, but a lot of it is just really grim. And
Yeah.
and when you actually go around the UK, you see it, and you see it in the high streets.
Yeah, of course. Just on a side note there, before we move on, I've never been to Scotland. Where would you recommend me going to Scotland and obviously do my vlogging?
Well, you can come up and say hello to me. I would always go to the West Coast.
West Coast, yeah. All right, well, you can help me with a vlog.
Come to Glasgow, and then Ayrshire's really nice, and then you can go up Loch Lomond and up towards the West Coast. It's really nice.
Yeah, all right, cool.
It's lovely, and we can show you some of the not so nice parts of it. But no, Glasgow's nice.
Yeah.
Most people when they come up to Scotland go to Edinburgh. I don't really like Edinburgh that much, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, well, but like obviously that's just the typical touristy place to go in it. Like I like to visit those. I still go to the tourist place as a hub, I guess. But then I want to go and visit more outside the tourist areas. And
I would recommend the West Coast, and there's it's much more rugged, and the scenery's great. But anyway, the reason for getting you on, Chris, was you went to a reform meeting, and you've actually got this up on your YouTube channel, and you got kicked out of the reform meeting. Now, is that Rupert Lowe, MP?
Yeah, that's our MP, Rupert Lowe.
He's your MP. He doesn't take a salary, does he?
No, to be fair, like Rupert Lowe, like he gets every salary he gets, he donates it to a worthy cause. So I'm going to compliment him. Obviously, we're going to have our disagreements with reform. However, he's actually been pretty decent. He's actually done it into done a very, very good few things. Like he donated to some I can't remember the exact name. It was Hemsby Calf or something, where old age pensioners can go there, get free coffee, for like a free sandwich and stuff. So like hats off to him to a certain extent, of course. And I just want to also say, like, because I've put here I got kicked out of the reform meeting. This is actually one of the regrets of my because it kind of overshadows why I've done it. The whole point of me going was to get demographics on the talking points, but it kind of gets overshadowed because there's been an argument. Oh, we got kicked out for recording. Maybe I did. I stopped recording at the end, which we'll see in the video shortly.
Right, let's watch this.
It's one of my regrets saying I got kicked out, because that's become a bit of a talking point. I don't want that to be the talking point. I don't want to be the center of attention. I want the center of attention. I want is the talking points of demographics.
Chris, if you were going to meetings and not getting kicked out, I would be disappointed in you. All right.
All right.
So especially with these kind of guys, right? Let's play this and hear what they've got to say.
The two people who did this, in my view, the police would have well within their right to do this. There is an individual who said that, and hopefully will.
Birmingham, yeah. Okay, so I am from Birmingham. Yeah, I have fled from Birmingham because now I'm a minority in my own home city. So what I wanted to ask from the Reform Party, like, okay, we can stop the votes all we want. Yeah, it's still not going to change the fact that I'm a minority in Birmingham. People are a minority in London, Luton, Slough, Blackburn, Bradford. What is Reform going to do to ensure that we, the English people, are going to remain the majority in our home cities and towns?
Well, I think if you follow me, I've been talking about, there's two issues on migration. There's illegal migration, which is the people coming over on the boats, and there's legal migration, who are the people that we are letting in legally. And actually the legal migration is a bigger problem than the illegal.
True.
I agree.
True.
And the legal migration can actually be resolved with a will from the people in power.
Mm.
And my only view is that immigration shouldn't be banned, but it should be minimal, and it should only be allowed if the people coming in are basically going to add to the domestic economy. And I frankly don't care what religion they are, what colour they are. I think merit is the key.
Oh no! Why do they always parrot this line? Like they all do this.
I'll give him his credit though. I'll give him his credit on the fact that he did say legal migration is a problem, because normally I would expect them to say like, oh, like it's the boats. When we know the facts here that it seems like it's this distraction half the time. Yeah, obviously the boats are a problem, but legal migration is a massive problem. So I will give him his credit on that. But yeah, it's always that parroting that line, as you were just saying, Dave.
Yeah, and the thing is, there is no need to say it, right? Let's play it a wee bit more. Hear what you're saying.
To immigration. The illegal immigration, I'm quite clear on. If people come here illegally, they should not be allowed to stay.
Can I ask you one question? What do you think this country's percentage of white? Yeah, I know people might frown upon this, but English people are white. Yeah, so what percentage, in your opinion, should England be in terms of white English? But at the moment, we're about 83%.
We're still hugely in the majority.
We. Okay. I mean, again, out of them all, and I think you're right there, Chris. Rupert Lowe is probably one of the more based among them, but he's still so far away from where they need to be. And instead of just being honest and stating it, but I mean, they're terrified of just going that extra few steps.
I mean, can I just mention like, mate, I've got like, but it's a very nerve-wracking experience. I'm on my own, by the way. I haven't gone with a friend or anything. I'm on my own. I only lasted 7 minutes in this hall, by the way. It took me 15 minutes to ride there on a bike, 20 minutes. And I only had 2 sips of my beer, by the way, and they took it off me before they kicked me out. But when I mentioned the word white, that I did sense a bit of an atmosphere change.
Yeah.
Amongst certain people. I've got probably, I don't like to over-exaggerate numbers. I'm going to predict between 80 to 120 people there, all staring at me. So it's a very nerve-wracking experience, but these questions need to be be put to the forefront. Yeah.
And it just, like, people's ingrained ideas to become uncomfortable when they hear that. That's just their natural. It's like they've been vaccinated against white racial consciousness. And if they hear it being mentioned, their immediate reaction is just to go off like that. It's like, again, it isn't really their fault. It's decades of propaganda and brainwashing that's done this to them. Isn't it? Right, let's play
I completely agree. We've been there as well.
Obviously, like I'm from Birmingham. I went from 95% in 1991, and now we're like 45. We are now 45% in our.
Birmingham's in bad shape, London's in bad shape, as you say. But this is history. What we mustn't do is just what Labour are in danger of doing is just opening the doors and letting everyone who's come here illegally in. Because as you know, some of them throw their passports into the sea.
I agree.
Most of them are young men of sort of fighting age. So I'm quite clear, and I say it publicly on Twitter, those who come here illegally should be deported. We have the right
but if we deport all illegals right now, I'm still a minority in Birmingham.
Well, illegals should be deported. Legal migrants is much more difficult.
Yeah, but if we deport all illegals right now from Birmingham, I'm still a minority in my own city.
So we're quite clear, and reform will deal with that. The problem is
how will you deal with that?
The government doesn't have the will to do it, and they seem to think that bringing people into the country improves the economy. It might increase the size of the economy, but it reduces the GDP per capita. So actually, we're all poorer.
It's true
because they're not adding to what we're all doing.
Okay.
So I think we're on it. But again, you can talk about it as much as we want. Till we've got power.
Yeah, sorry.
It's a private event.
Till we've got power.
Yeah, no.
You've not reported.
We can't.
I mean, see how that private event you can't record? Is that true?
It was not a private event. I don't see how it's a private event. They posted it on Facebook.
Yeah.
They did all right. They didn't put the address on Facebook. They said, "Do you want to come to an event tomorrow?" Like on his Facebook page, email us. I emailed them. Hi, I'm Chris Mitchell. I want to come tomorrow. Okay, here's the address.
Yeah, it's not a private event. It's a public event.
You know what I mean? Like I know, like you've got all these other parties like Patriots, Conservative, etc., that will take steps for you to get into that event where like vetting, so many procedures.
Yeah, that's right. That's different.
Do you know what I mean? Like, but this was, I don't see how it can be classed as a private event when I've literally I could have been anyone. Like, hi, I'm Chris Mitchell. And if they'd done a basic research on me, which would have come up, oh, he's a far right Nazi, blah blah, all the other crap. Yeah, I don't see how that's a private event, to be honest.
Yeah, but I'm just going to put your channel in there. Everyone can give you a sub. I mean,
the
thing is, that answer you got from Rupert Lowe is probably the best you're going to get from.
I think so. Yeah, I expected less than that, to be fair. But I don't. When I start recording, I was just being polite. I was polite for the whole thing. I just wanted to be that polite. I didn't want to go and cause trouble because I think these questions just need to be discussed. We're not violent people.
Yeah. The other thing none of them will ever talk about is they'll not either talk about the collapsing birth rate either. Like, it's funny because I've seen like Miriam Cates and all these people, they'll talk about how a collapsing birth rate is bad for the economy. They'll never talk about how the collapsing birth rate is bad for not having any indigenous people of these islands living here anymore. You know, I'm not asking them to come out and go like full 1488. All I'm asking them for is just to be honest about it and just say, well, look, you know, white people have been, as you said, white people have been in these islands, Europeans, for hundreds and thousands of years. You know, in the last 40 years, we're going to become a minority. And if Reform keep cucking like this, what are they going to achieve? I mean, that's my disagreement with Farage in general, is he's playing a role for the government, which is, look, there's a lot of people out there pissed off. Let's just give them a voice and they'll think something's happening. And nothing ever does.
I mean, like, as well with the video, I mean, I don't know where it's been shared because I'm quite a small channel as such, really, in the grand scheme of things. But it's been shared somewhere and I can't find where. But I'm getting a lot of probably Reform people coming, just admit it, you're just a racist. Like, not, I've got 2 channels on YouTube, but I'm getting these comments. Oh, you're just a racist. Why don't you just join the BNP? Oh, you're just X, Y, Z. Like, I'm getting a bit, like, not that channel, but
the reform. The problem with Reform is it's full. Reform is full of Tory boys and it's full of Tommy tards as well that love pushing all, because they are so terrified of being called like that. Like every day they wake up, they're like, I hope someone doesn't call me a racist today. They're and the thing is, they are shite bags. And the thing is, moving forward, we can't have shite bags. We have to have people that come up and just say, look, total end to illegal, total end to legal, and we look at restoring the rightful people of these islands to running it. I don't even think it's not even fucking controversial to say that.
It's not controversial. I don't even know what these Tommy. I think I met you at a Tommy Robinson demo. We've come a long way since then. You know what I mean, Dave? But what do you want? It's like you're moaning about all this crime that's going on in these countries. Yeah, it's through having non-whites in our countries. That is the problem. And again, it's not about even hating non-whites as a whole.
No,
mate, I just want Britain to be British. Yeah,
but again, it's like
paper, Scottish, Welsh, Irish, English. We all belong in our island.
My other argument against it is people who like don't have ownership of something. They tend not to give a shit as much. It's like people say, "Oh well, when Brits go on holiday, they get pissed and smash it up." Yeah, because it's not their cunt. Like. It is. That's why, like, when people have things, they belong to it. It's their blood. It's their soil. They're gonna look after it a bit better. Thing is, everything we're talking about here is sensible. And I was watching a thing today as well about Canada. And this is the other thing. All these countries had specific policies on who was allowed into their country. Canada, Australia, the USA, and it was clearly stated in their constitutions and in their laws that it was people of white European descent. And then they changed the rules in the 60s and 70s. So everything that you're talking about, everything that we all talk about here, 60, 70 years ago, was the massive majority opinion. It's not what I think we need to do is we need to stop making, and in fairness to Steve Laws, etc. Just we're trying to normalize language that used to be normal but is now considered crazy.
Yeah, completely agree. And again, like I've done 25 countries at the moment, Dave. And a lot of them obviously are Eastern Europe. I like going Eastern Europe because you get a sense of feeling a little bit more home in Eastern Europe. I know you've been a couple of places like Hungary and Poland and whatever, and I know it's not perfect, but it's a lot better than what we're getting here.
Yeah,
you must admit
is.
that. And you're speaking to them about our story, mate. Do you know what? I'll tell you a story. I was in Serbia and I was in a bar and I met this girl and she classed herself as Antifa. Right, this is a Serbian Antifa. I told her everything I believe in, my beliefs. And she's like, well, there's nothing wrong with that. That's an Antifa Serbian girl.
Yeah.
With me. So I don't know what's going on in their nation to the degree for her to want to be Antifa and proudly say, I'm an Antifa. So whatever.
It's probably a relic of the Cold War, you know.
Probably.
Shout out to Woody 11.
Everything I said.
Not giving a shit about being called a racist is liberating. I mean, that is true, and that's the one thing I've kind of learned over the years is that these words, any of them, are all designed to shut you down and stop that. Yeah, I was talking last night about that. I saw a lot of people went to like the Polish. Have you been to the Polish Independence Day?
You know what? I've never done it, and I keep regretting it every year. So, I think
the only thing I say about it is the problem with them is they're all still totally bought into the World War II narrative. Like, I mean, it's quite hard to go to Poland and explain to Polish people that, like, you know, that the stories you've been told about what happened weren't. I mean, let's just put it this way: they do tend to get a bit. They're not the most open-minded of people when it comes to certain things. You know, let's put it that way.
No. I get that. I think
that's. But the thing is, you're right though. I mean, you go to Hungary, you go to Serbia, you go to Poland, Romania. There is still a normality about them. Yeah. Like you don't have the gay stuff. You just don't. Like in Hungary, Orban's basically banned it entirely. You only see smidgens of it in Budapest, but apart from that, it's just not there. Most people are pretty conservative.
You feel safe as well. Like so. I literally spent 1 month in Serbia, Belgrade, most of it as well, which is their capital city. Do you know what I mean? That's their London. Do you know what I mean? Imagine spending a month in London. But then I come back and I have to stay because it's a night flight all the time from Serbia. I have to stay in Luton, and like, mate, honestly, I stayed in a month in Belgrade. Sometimes I'm in a state, on my own as well, 3-4 in the morning. I've never felt safer. I'm coming back. Also, even sober, I'd be in Luton for 3-4 minutes, and I'd be terrified. I think, like you got so many dodgy characters. Literally, I'll be seeing like blacks just standing there on their own, like
about these things. And again, you know what it's like if you if you do start talking about these things. A lot of young guys. I tend to find people who think more like us are guys who are maybe married with kids, or people who are in their 40s and 50s. Like,
Well,
they start to figure it out.
Well, so